Hey, 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 it is Friday, January 23rd, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon. So this is Success Never Sleeps, where we as a collective of small business owners, in particular, martial arts school owners, trying to figure out this thing called life. We want to create businesses that work for us versus us working for them. We want to create profitable businesses that help us fulfill our dreams, right? You should own a home. You should be able to take care of your family well. You should be able to go on vacation when you want. You should be able to save for retirement, and the band played on. But it requires a certain skill set. And like I tell people all the time, there's a skill set to being a martial artist, skill set to being a great instructor, a different skill set to being a successful small business owner, and a different skill set to being an entrepreneur. And I believe for me to live my best life, I want to fulfill all four. We just got off our group mentoring meeting, and my ability to change, I think, is one of my greatest assets. I mean, they're all changes are rooted in my core values, such as integrity and honesty and family, things like that. But I'm very willing to make changes in my personal development, my business, everything, everything. And if we're willing to do that, the opportunity to be successful in real time today can be yours. And that's what this is all about. So let's begin by thanking our sponsors. Tusa, Gunny, good people. I just found out that he's getting engaged and he's getting married. So I'm very happy for that. Congratulations to you, Gunny. Market Muscle, Stephen Reinstein and the gang, always bettering their websites to offer us the best in SEO and generating leads, and it's just, I can't say enough about Stephen. My studio, of course, we're moving into Amplify, which is the AI generated responses, which I prefer more than automation, because an AI agent is going to answer people in real time. And on Sunday night, when that mom opts in at our Market Muscles website and it zaps into my studio and they're automatically talking to an AI agent, perfect. Because I would believe, and you might agree with me, Marco, Sunday night, 9 p.m., mom put the kids to bed. She's having a glass of wine. She's doing research there, right? About martial arts schools. She wants information. Does she want to talk to somebody on Sunday night at 9 p.m.? I don't think so. Not at all. But if she knows there's an AI agent there that's trained really well, right? That's trained really well to answer their questions, I believe that's service. That's service. Kids Love Life Skills. Again, working with our mentor clients, discussing people will come for the kicks and punches, but they stay for the character development. Please make no qualms about that. If you believe that every parent's coming to you just so their child can learn self-defense, that's short-lived. If they're going to stay there long-term to black belt and potentially beyond, it is the life skills, the character development that separates you from everybody else. Everybody else. Cool? So be mindful of that. LC Accounting, my sister Letitia, she's getting healthier and strong. She had some stuff to be done, but she's back on track. It's tax time. If you guys need a great bookkeeper, please talk to my sister. Kin Creative, they were just in town, and that's all what we're talking about today. Digital media, and I'm going to pre-frame that whole story in a minute. But they were here from Costa Rica and Canada, and we shot for 3-4 days straight, averaging 12, 14-hour days, because content is king. Write it down. Content is king. And if you're not producing content in the digital domain, you're missing out on a whole audience that you could be generating new leads, quality leads into your school beyond what? Referrals, community events, right, that you do, the booths that you do. Right? Beyond all that, how are you generating new leads? How are you generating new students? And that's what today is all about. Cool? All right. So thank you, Marco, for that. Who do we have coming aboard today, Marco? Check him out. Make sure. Who is that? Share some love with me. I have no idea who that is. What's up, potato? I don't know who that is, Marco. So let me share my journey and why it is so significant, okay? I never did digital media. I never did Facebook ads. I never did Instagram ads. I never kept my Google business page up. But remember, I opened my school in the year 2000, right at the dot-com bust where, websites weren't really that sophisticated yet. The internet wasn't that sophisticated yet. So we were still relying on traditional forms of marketing, right? Paper, direct mail pieces, flyers on poles, God, the doorknob hangers. Remember those door hangers? We did those things like that. So print was still very, very big. And so I was conditioned to believe that, you know, any type of digital media was just not even necessary. But we were hit with a thing called the pandemic, right? And when the pandemic hit, we had no other choice but to use digital media to promote our businesses. And I looked at that beginning back then and all the digital marketing that we did because of the virtual environment. I can't believe how quickly we were learning and growing and producing that. And it's the reason why we survived the pandemic. But once that happened, I knew the value of digital media and I began seeing the shift, right? People were working from home. The focus, the eyes on digital media were huge, huge, just by default, right? But what also came with that, I think Meta saw that and things began developing very, very quickly. The levels of sophistication, the levels of how they were figuring it out to make it work was huge. And today it is a whole different animal. Now, in there, as I was going through these different digital media companies, trying them with very little results, poor results at best, outreached a new digital media company. They were called Dojo Launch. And Dojo Launch came to me to consult them. They wanted me to come in and work on their purpose statement, their position agreements. I was working with the mindset of the CEO, core values, all these things. So they used to be called Dojo Launch. And we rebranded to what is called today Kin Creative. Now, as a consultant, I learned they were a family business that saved their family's business during the pandemic. So what I really was attracted to with Kin Creative, it was out of love. The son wanted to help save the family's businesses, so he went heavy into learning how to run Facebook ads and all that. He was smart enough to see that. Smart enough to see that. Even, where he was age-wise, he saw the value of digital media. Well, after I finished my tenure with them, we wanted to keep playing together. I said, yeah, I do. I love hanging out with you guys. So I stayed aboard as a consultant, continue working on the infrastructure. Within a couple of months, we lost our creative team. We lost them. Things happen. That's the way it went. So his brother, Amon, who was the account manager, Landon, a really good friend of them, and me, we picked up the ball. And Amon started to learn editing. Landon learned editing. We were learning that curve, really fast. Hey, Bob, what's happening, Bob? How's it going? How's it going? And so we did that. Please give new people context, the new people context. I'm not sure what that means, Marco. What's this about? Sure, I can do that for you. This is all about digital media. And here's the backstory. So after that, I began writing copy. And at the time, what Meta wanted from us copy-wise was very specific. So we had to use things like Millbrae Parents. We had to use things like At One Martial Arts. We had to use things like Here's the Offer. And that was, for me as a creative person, that was very limiting, very limiting. But over the past 3 years, our creative team, which I believe is everything, good content, because content is king, is vital, super vital to creating great digital media. So recently, Meta moved into a thing called Andromeda. Actually, it's been several months now. Now, the reason Andromeda came about is because of AI. The ability to process all these digital ads, right? They needed to change their platform because now with Soros and things like that, I can go to I can go to ChatGPT and say, give me 50 ads on kids karate right now. And it'll spit it out in milliseconds. Milliseconds. So Meta was overwhelmed with all of this digital media, right? Because people were running ads with Soros and things like that. So the challenge with that is once they fix that to be able to process it, right? They can process billions and billions of ads now at a breakneck speed, from what I understand, right? From what Adam has taught me, And but see what's happening now because they're flooded with all of these AI generated ads, stock photos, right? And generic messaging is it's degrading the quality of who do you trust? Who do you trust? So messaging is now the key to digital media. Messaging. We're even reducing B-rolls, right? You watch one of our standard ads at Facebook and you'll see the school owner saying, hi, Millbrae parents, welcome to One Martial Arts. And you cut to a B-roll of a class, people kicking and punching and doing all those different things. And then at the end, you see the school owner. Well, now we're even reducing our B-rolls. It is really the message. The message. Now, here's something super scary. Meta has roughly 30,000 touch points for any given individual. Crazy, right? But I could probably name 10 things about me. The reason why, every time I do a post, that's more data on me. Every time they see a Facebook ad, that's more data on me. Anytime I comment or like or watch a reel, that's more data on me. And we can go on and on and on. It's no different than when you look at something at Amazon, next thing you know, ads are popping up in your feed. That's more data. On and on and on. So if you think about it over the past decade, for me being around social media, could they accumulate 30 different touch points on me all the time? Easy. So now with AI, if you're running an ad about children and bullying, they'll be able to go boom and get everybody out there that's ever searched a website, looked at something on bullying, right? All of it. It could even be, stay with me now. I know you think all your information's private. It's not. Let's say I see an article on bullying and I start commenting on it. That's more data. You with me? So now it doesn't seem as inconceivable that they could have 30 touch points on me. Not at all. But what I'm loving about AI now that they're up to snuff is they're able to look at these these AI generated ads and stock photos and generic messaging, and they now throw them into a group, tire kickers. That's it. Tire kickers. People that are impulsive. You're using some buzzword that you got from AI, so they respond to it. But are they a better lead? That's what I want to ask you. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I went down that rabbit hole with an AI agent and I said, give me 25 ads that would appeal to moms, right? With a 6-year-old kid looking for an extracurricular activity. I cannot tell you, every one of those ads had confidence building. That was a real standard one, confidence building. But so the challenge with that is, yes, I do teach confidence, but does it really say it in a unique way of messaging that stands out above the AI generated stuff? See, that's what you're trying to do now. Otherwise, you're going to get thrown into the bucket of AI generated ads and generic messaging and stock photos, and you're going to get nothing but tire kickers. You with me? You'll get nothing but tire kickers. And if you have questions about this as we go along, please feel free to share. Feel free to ask me. Because again, I've been down this rabbit hole hard for 3 years. And the education I've gotten from, working with Adam and Amon and Landon and, everybody at Kin Creative has really given me a unique insight because one, I am a client of theirs. They run ads for my martial arts schools. But two, I'm on the back end learning these things over the past 3 years and working very, very closely with them. So I can today share this with you with extreme confidence in what I'm offering you. But please make no mistake, Meta will change it up on us again at will. And see the thing about that, you're at the mercy of that information, right? But understand, Meta makes money two ways. One, collecting data, right? They use our data and they all want to draw from the same data pool because the integrity of data is important. And whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Amazon, Google, take your pick. If they can draw from the same data, that's the integrity. If they can all draw from Google and Facebook and everything and say Brannon Beliso owns One Martial Arts and they all agree upon that, That's good data, right? That's good data. So they want to keep gathering data. Number one is data. There's money in data, a lot of money in data. Two, advertising. And if they're not getting you results, then that doesn't help them. So it's super important that they're constantly leveraging, and today it's AI, to get us better leads. I agree. You're getting me better leads, Facebook. I'm happy as a camper. I'll spend a lot of money with you. But that requires a digital media company that is moving with this thing at breakneck speed, because it is moving. AI, we know, is moving really, really fast. And so some of it's very overwhelming and it's intimidating. So people turn a blind eye to it and say it's Terminator stuff, right? The machines versus us. But there is a certain amount of AI I believe we can all use really well to help our businesses be better. Absolutely. Case in point. Right now, when you opt into our Market Muscles website, as I shared, it gets zapped because Market Muscles website has to communicate with my studio, right? Which is our CRM system. So there's a zap. Automatically, the lead goes into my studio. Automatically, we have an automated text and email flow. So once you opt in, you immediately get, thank you for inquiring about One Martial Arts. We're going to be sending you more information. A minute after that, we text and email you the schedule. After that, we text you the link to sign up for a trial. A minute after that, on and on. See, but what it can't do with the mom at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, it can't engage with her and in real time answer her questions. That, I think, is going to be a huge game changer for us, right? The fact that we have this great AI agent, and that's a whole nother story. We're compiling what's called a knowledge base right now, right? And it's based upon one simple strategy: garbage in, garbage out. If I don't train this AI agent, right, and this model, if I don't train it with the right information, it can't give it to them. Here's the mistake I made. I figured you might be talking to me about kids karate, but then you'll want to know about day camps, or you might want to know about our fitness kickboxing, or you might want to know about our after school program. Nay, nay. You want individual AI agents for each program. So let's say it's youth karate. We have two different AI agents we're creating, one for San Francisco and one for Millbrae. Why? If you ask me a question about parking, I'm going to say in Millbrae, we have great, easy parking right on the street. If it's San Francisco, we're going to say we have street parking, but you know it's San Francisco, so try to come early. See, something as basic as that. Because again, I want to give them good information. Good information. So we're now creating these AI agents. So in real time, they'll talk to you. I know. But that's just where it is. And to me, it makes a lot of sense. We book flights without ever talking to anybody. We order things at Amazon without ever talking to anybody. We do a lot of things where we don't talk to people. So the basic information I'm trying to gather to see if I'm coming to your school versus Joe Karate down the street, it better be good. More now than ever. The messaging you put out better be good. And of course, separate you from the noise of Joe Karate down the street. You with me? Let me take a deep breath. And you hear my excitement, as we were working 13, 14-hour days shooting all these new scripts. I was just blown away. Because to write a script is one thing, to narrate it yourself is another, but to see one of your team, in this case TJ, going through these scripts and just listening to them as they were being, recorded, and you could say confidence building, you could say anti-bully, but that's exactly what the generic messaging is pulling from the AI ads. Because I did this. And if it said this, well, that's the word. Everybody's using it. You don't want to do that. You want to have unique messaging while still being appealing. But stay with me on this. If you know anything about digital media, often what we would do is create these custom audiences. We thought we were really hip. We're making a custom audience, a mom in Millbrae within a 3 mile radius of my brick and mortar location. She makes this much money, right? She has a degree at college, da 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 da. And we thought it was really cool and hip because we're really creating an audience of good leads. But not necessarily, not in today's world. Again, with AI and the implementation of Andromeda, it's going through all these 30,000 data points to find a connection between you and what you're offering and you fulfilling their pain point and their need. Are you guys staying with me on this? Yeah, I know. It's been huge and it's been extremely not overwhelming because fortunately, with the 3 years of digital learning and working in the digital media environment, when it was explained to me, it made real sense. But I know for the average school owner, it will not. And that's okay. That's why I'm here, right? That's why I'm here with you today. So, what is it that you need to do? That's the big question. Anybody know? Put it in the comments. What is it that you think you need to do, Bob, with all this information? Well, number one, you should be working with Kin Creative, right? That's the easy way, but that still doesn't shore up your website, your Google business page, right? Your Facebook friends and family page. It doesn't take care of any of that, any of it. So again, you've heard this before, and I'll repeat it. Your brand message, right? Which is in line with your brand promise. So if you had to stop for a moment and think about it, everybody that's here today, what is your brand message to the community? What sets you apart from Joe Karate down the street? Anybody? You can post it in there. What sets you apart? What is your unique service point or what is your unique selling point? Again, I can say we're a martial arts school. Everybody says that. But see, that falls into a piece that I love to share with people. Watch the Simon Sinek piece, the golden circle. I think it's the golden circle. Maybe you can find it, Marco, and post it there for people. The golden circle with Simon Sinek centers around 3 elements. And when people market, they tend to mistakenly market from the first one. What are we? Right? What are we? And most people will say we're a martial arts school. That's why when I see that type of marketing, I want to call the school owner and try to help them on it. And you look at their flyers, you look at everything they produce, the biggest thing on that marketing piece of marketing material is their logo. It's not what, right? And everybody markets from the what. And when we're talking about Andromeda with some of our clients, they were a little unnerved that we're not going to put their school name in the content that we write. We're not going to put their school name or the demographic, Millbrae parents, in the actual copy. But make no mistake, Andromeda will find them and know who to send it to based upon the messaging. They know we're One Martial Arts. You don't think Andromeda knows that we're One Martial Arts San Francisco and Millbrae? Of course they do. Of course they do. Because those ads are being ran through my accounts. That alone is data. So when we're running ads through the One Martial Arts San Francisco, you don't think they know we're One Martial Arts in San Francisco? Of course they do. So would they go out there and get the right, demographic to market it to? Of course they will. But in the past, we've had to say those things. No longer do we have to do that. So again, I think what it offers you is a very unique opportunity to position your business better than ever. Because imagine if every martial arts school says Millbrae parents. Huh? All the same. All the same. What if every martial arts school is saying confidence building? All the same. All the same. So through good messaging said in such a unique way, we can position our business differently. And that's what I'm so super excited about in all of this. So most people market from what are we? A martial arts school. Look at Apple. If I take this Apple phone, I don't think the Apple logo is anywhere. It's like really small right here on the phone. They don't have to put really big on Apple. Look at a great Apple ad, right? Now, I know we're not Apple, so please, I understand that. I understand that. But if we have the confidence to understand marketing, I don't market from the what. And that's the big mistake I see most businesses do, not just martial arts industry. Next is how. Okay. Maybe we say we teach self defense, martial arts, and quality life skills. That's, you know, how we do it. But who gets to the why? That's where messaging lives, in the why, right? What is Nike's why? Just do it. We're doers, we're action takers. That's why we wear Nike. We're part of a tribe of action takers. We do it. Why do people go to Disney? Disneyland, Disney World. It's the happiest place on earth, right? Why do people use Apple products? Because they think different, right? When Apple first, when Steve Jobs came back to Apple in the second coming, he understood that. And they cultivated think different. There was a time Apple products was used strictly by creative people, musicians, graphic artists, people like that. But the minute they came out with what? The iPod, right, for music, they came out with the iPhone, right? All those different things, the AirPods, then they entered a larger market where everybody uses Apple today. But see, they were smart enough to make that change. They were smart enough to see that transition, and they made it really well. And they continue to do that today, right? But make no mistake, if we were still on iPhone 1, well, what would that phone be, right? We're on 17. So change is good for your business, as any of the big companies will show you, especially tech companies. Change is good. Change is good. Not okay. Change is really good. So getting to the why is super, super important. Simple example, ours is live your best life. Why do I want to bring my kid to you versus Joe Karate down the street? We're going to help them live their best life. Oh, that creates an emotional connection because every parent wants their kid to live their best life. Every person wants to live their best life. Then we get into how. We do it through quality martial arts and life skills. Oh, great. And who are you? We're martial arts. We're one martial arts. See? So actually, I find that extremely appealing about Andromeda because it trims away all that other distractions and we can genuinely focus on messaging. Messaging. So simple exercise right now, go into your Google, right? Go into your Instagram, go into your Facebook, go into your website. Are you marketing from the what? Are you marketing from the how? Or are you genuinely marketing from the why, where you understand who your avatar is, right? Mom with a 6-year-old kid for most of us, because she makes the buying decisions. I'm a husband. I don't make these decisions. My wife does. I simply sign the check, right? That's not uncommon in many, many families. So we understand our main avatar is the parent, preferably the mom with a 6-year-old kid. So I want to speak to her. And I want to speak to her in such a way that it creates not only curiosity, but inspiration. And ultimately, we want to earn their trust. Now, the reason this is so important is because in the digital media realm, right, it's all about sales, getting the sale, closing the deal. So you still see it till today. We only have 20 spots left. That's a bunch of BS. We in martial arts schools have lots of spots, and we're always trying to fill them because we know there's a certain amount of attrition. You lose 50% of your student body every 2 years, and you have to replace it. So we will constantly have to get new students. So why would you ever say we only have 20 spots left? Because it's a lie. It's a sales tactic. But ultimately, it's a lie. And then we'll use time base. Only 72 hours left, 20 spots, and it's only $19.99. Those are all three very standard sales things. Or offer something free, right? A free uniform, offer that. Those are all standard sales tactics. And they've been around forever. Forever, no, forever. So again, that is not the type of messaging I want to use to best position my business to serve a family. You with me? Okay. So now that all that fodder is eliminated, we really need to bear down on the message. And that messaging has to be rooted in your why. For our example, it's live your best life. So as I was going through writing these scripts, I had to ask myself on a human level, because I enjoy studying humanism. Me and Sam On have long conversations about humanism. If you don't know who Sam On is, learn who he is. And we have those discussions of humanism. So if I'm living my best life, what is it that I'm after? Well, I live my best life when I'm grateful. Okay. I live my best life when I'm filled with hope, right? I live my best life when I'm alive emotionally. And most humans do. So to be able to address pain points, to address topics and subjects through messaging that create an emotional connection are powerful. Here's a great one. Because I think what we do in the martial arts, and not to get ahead of myself, but in a genuine heart level way, is we help people believe. My child is shy. I believe the martial arts can help them become confident. Wow, that's powerful. That is a lot more impact than 1999, or only 20 spots left, or this special is only for 72 hours. A lot more. Unfortunately, again, with the Andromeda, we can focus in on that messaging, right? So here's an opening hook from one of our new scripts. Remember the hope that you felt the first time you looked into your child's eyes. Ooh, for you parents out there like Marco, me, right? Bob, think about that. The first time I saw my son, when I looked into his eyes when he was first born, because that's what that's about, right? The first time you looked into your child's eyes, that was in the delivery room after they were just born. That's one of my favorite lines that I've written as a hook in messaging. That's pretty cool, right? When do you ever compare the birth of your child and the hope that you saw to the hope they're going to get from enrolling their kid in your martial arts classes? Powerful. I'm hopeful you will teach my child confidence. I'm hopeful that you will help them stand up taller and be stronger and more resilient. You see where I'm going with that? But I started with probably one of the highest levels of hope we've ever felt as humans, as parents, looking into our children's eyes when they're first born. And that's what Andromeda offers me as a creative person. I no longer have to start copy with Millbrae parents. No longer. Talk about stepping all over messaging, having to use something as generic as that, because for data collection, the old platform needed Millbrae parents to know who to send this ad to in their newsfeed. Oh, I can't tell you. I mean, for me, it's just like the best in the world. And I'm I'm so excited. You can hear it. I'm like a kid in a candy store, right? Hey, if you're coming aboard, say hi. Tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from. I'm going to share a couple more scripts. And any questions you have about digital media, please ask them. You can ask me about Instagram. You can ask me about Google Business Page. You can ask me about any of those things, any of them. I'd like to say it was intentional, but had the boys not reached out to me from Kin looking to hire me as a consultant in my wisdom program, I wouldn't be this knowledgeable or this passionate about it all, right? I believe everything happens for a reason, and that's why I'm able to share this information with you today. So if you have a question, put it in the comment, and if you're here, say hi. Tell me who you are and where you're tuning in from. Okay, here's another great one, and this one's just, because we're trying to create an emotional connection. I'm not a fear-based guy, but it is love. This is love from a parent. And sometimes love can be challenging. Love can be hard. This is so cool. This is one of my favorite ones. Have you ever had your heart ache when you saw your child sitting alone at the park or a birthday party? Wow. We've all been there, right? You want to push your kid out there. Don't miss out. Go make friends. Go play. But because they're really shy, they won't. And it does make your heart ache. I'm a parent. It makes my heart ache anytime I saw my child sitting alone at a park or a birthday party. Wow. Wow. See, because we don't have to start with Millway parents or San Francisco parents. It just, as a creative, as a digital creator, it offers me so much space. And then from that, of course, you know where that's going to go, right? The martial arts can help them overcome shyness. Wow, how powerful that is. Give them the confidence, to go make new friends, right? All of that, all of it. But it starts with the hook. Everything is about a hook. Being a songwriter, the hook in a song, the hook. The hook is important. And you don't want it just to be a hook. I want the body of the messaging to be a hook. I want the call to action to be a hook. And now the potential is unlimited. Thanks to AI and Andromeda, it's able to draw from 30,000 different, imagine that. And if somewhere in there, have I ever looked at bullying? Yes. So it'll find me. Somewhere in there, I've ever looked about, how to help my children's confidence? Yes. Right? Absolutely. Every parent has searched it at some parents' resource center or child psychology article or blog. So that information's all out there. And if any mindful parent who's trying to raise the best child possible, they're always exploring these resources. Always. So it's such a beautiful thing. And I like it. I like it a lot, as you can see. And I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just trying to share with you all these data points are being collected. And if your website's crap and it's sell, you don't think the data being collected is going to say this is just some generic AI generated stock photocopy? Yeah, if I go to your website and I see a stock photo, I just want to call you up and say, please take it down, because that's the data you're putting out there. You with me? And I had a client recently and he posted a picture of, and this is a big one right now, and I'm not sure why people do this in our industry other than they might personally think it's cool. A lot of animated AI generated photos of kids' classes. Okay, stay with me now. And if you can shine some light, tell me, how does that best position your school with a potential lead? Go, put it in there right now. Tell me how an AI generated image of an animated kids class, right? Because it looks to me like freaking Dragon Ball Z and it's all animated, right? It's an animated photo. Tell me, how is that supposed to best position your brand as an authority in educating children through martial arts and life skills? Go. I've tried to wrap my head around it to find some real value in it. If I was a mom with a 6-year-old kid, again, the mom makes the buying decision. It's the mom sitting there at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night with a glass of wine scrolling through her feed, not the kid. I mean, I don't even know if these animated images would appeal to a kid. Why? You want to know why? Because you're competing with K-pop Demon Hunter. You're competing with Pokemon, right? Pokemon cards are huge right now. K-pop Demon Hunter is huge. Tell me how that really subpar animated graphic of a children's class can even remotely, if I was a kid looking at it, is going to inspire me. It is not, right? It is not. So again, I think that is a bad choice as well. Anybody with me on this? And yeah, and I hope our industry, I hope the industry really takes note of this. Because again, I'm not just pulling sunshine out of my behind. I've really been blessed and grateful to not only work with these amazing young people over the past 3 years, I get to create in their domain. And so as a school owner, I'm constantly scrutinizing my website. Please go to onemartialarts.com. You will see a lot of this work, and it's a live work. I'm always bettering it. There's things I need to change right now because everything's in real time, real time, real time, real time, real time. It simply is. Go to my Google business page. We have one at Yelp. We have Instagram. We work next door. And it's a beast. I mean, I spend hours a week on content now, between writing scripts for kin, between recording our own content. I have a really good camera, and people say, I don't want to do that. I'm a martial artist. I just want to teach. Please be mindful. You are a business owner. You are no longer just a martial artist. You are no longer an instructor. You are a business owner. And if you're not cultivating your brand message, if you're not working on these things, then I believe it might be a challenge. Because as I shared at the top of the broadcast, I will never, ever simply get students from referrals, in-house events, booth, and community events. That's one group. But as I share passionately, I don't market one way to 70 people. I market 70 ways to 70 people. And that's why I'm so enamored with Andromeda, because they want the minimum of 25 scripts. Our goal is 50. I want to have 50 different ads in rotation all the time, because it's going like this, and it doesn't cost you more. You can still stay with the same ad budget and run all these ads because it's really honing. I'm not just running one ad with Millbrae parents and praying somebody in Millbrae is going to get it. It is down 30,000 different touch points, taking that one message and getting it specifically to that person. I really enjoy that. And again, the primitive version is I look at, I don't know, a food processor at Amazon. Next, there's a food processor in my new news feed. That's a primitive, how that acts. Your message, it's doing the same thing. So when that ad goes out, all those touch points, it's trying to find a very specific demographic to fulfill the message. But if the messaging is not good, again, generic messaging is what they call it. That's the term, generic messaging. That's going to be a tire kicker. Generic messaging is a tire kicker. I don't want it. But it requires this type of thought, this type of creativity to cultivate it. And believe me, I've went up against Manus. I've went up against ChatGPT, and none of it is a message that I believe is best going to position. It might draw enough data to say confidence building, but you and everybody else out there is going to use the word confidence building. Think about that, please, because we're in a new age. It's a new time. And because of AI, this is where we are. We can't go in there and tell Meta, change it. I want it like this. That's too much work. You can't. So see, that's the thing I think between successful marketing and unsuccessful marketing is they give you a set of parameters. And when they make these types of changes and they make these moves, especially in the digital domain, if you don't pivot and adapt, you get left behind. And you're spending all this money on ads that get you little to no leads. And if they do, they're poor leads. Yeah, I know. Right? This is a lot to take on, Bob. Believe me, I sat here and after shooting for 3 days, I was like, my head was spinning. It was spinning. But I became more committed to this and understanding how, if you're going to be a successful martial arts school, if you want to scale, I don't know what your version of success is, that you are actively getting involved in understanding to some level so you can at least, if you choose to work with a digital media company, you understand what you're looking for. I do. And I think, frustrated many digital media companies because I know BS when it comes across the line now. And I'm just like, oh, you can't say that to us. Right? I'm here. I'm the keeper of the gate. I got to protect the small school owner. You can't tell us that. It's a line of BS. Right? So I digress. So is that good stuff today, everybody? If you have any questions, put them in the comments, please. I would appreciate that. And if you're still here, say hi. Tell me you're here and you got a lot out of today. So start posting your takeaways of what you got out of today or any questions that you might have. I would greatly appreciate that. Cool? That's a mouthful, huh, Marco? But I mean, I'm sure Marco's even going, darn, Brannon knows a lot about this now. I do, because I've been working with this company for 3 years, and I not only see it through the lens of being a creative person, writing copy, I design graphics, I work closely with them. I see it as a school owner because they run my ads. So I see it as a school owner. So I think I see both sides of it really, really well. And understanding who we are as martial arts school owners, I also understand how digital media can fulfill what we need. Not just more students, better students, right? Not just tons of leads, better leads. And fortunately, with Andromeda, I believe it's going to offer us that through Meta. Cool? All right, all right. So if you don't have any questions or anything, we're going to wrap this up. Let's begin by thanking our sponsors. Yeah. Tucson Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Lifecycles, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All of these businesses I work with. All of these businesses impact my business and help us be who we are today. It's really about the people, even more so. These are all products. There's other website companies. There's other martial arts vendors out there. There's other bookkeepers. There's other life skills. There's other CRM systems. And there's definitely a slew of digital media companies, right? Every day I see a new one out there. I see some new digital media company. I do. I simply do. But for me, it's about the relationship, number one. I want to work with good people. I want to work with people I love. And so I'm very blessed and grateful to say every one of these 6 companies you see below me, I work with. I know the people well. I believe in them as people. And I'm so excited about everything they're doing in their innovation and their progress. Cool. All right. Our mentoring program, I didn't get to mention that at the top of the broadcast. Super proud of this team. When we see people get there and we're instrumental in impacting that, I'm just tickled pink. And we're having the It's Time group mentoring, a special edition right now, taking school owners through a month at no charge, hopefully inspiring and opening up their minds to the potential. I think the biggest thing I've got is this is so much work. Yes, it is. Owning a small business is a lot of work. And most of the times, you haven't created a business that works for you. You've created a job for yourself, and you're a terrible boss. And hopefully, through our group mentoring, we give you the skill set, right? We don't give you fish, we teach you to fish. We help teach you that skill set you need to be not only a great martial artist and instructor, but to be a successful small business owner. So DM any of us, Marco, Monique, Jason, and myself, will be happy to share with you about that program. Cool? All right. So where can they find me, Marco? Dun, dun, dun. We have our podcast, Success Never Sleeps, at YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. I had a school owner say to me that just from watching your videos, I have been able to create a profitable martial arts school. Yep. Yep. I think at our YouTube channel, we have 10 years worth of these shows, and people can draw from them. There's gold everywhere, right? But you got to take action. None of what you learned today means anything unless you are willing to take action. And that's what I hope you choose to do today. Cool? Yeah, I know it's overwhelming, but my car can drive itself. I drive through San Francisco. I did that the other day. I can't tell you how many Waymo robo taxis are out there, right? I mean, it's here. And the same thing with digital media, but it can be a good thing too, right? It doesn't have to be the scary Terminator type stuff. If you really understand why it's there, if you really understand what Meta's trying to do with Andromeda, if you really get those things, maybe it won't be so intimidating. And if you work with people like me or someone that understands it, you'll feel more well-versed. But the key is, even though Kin Creative runs my ads, I technically can do them myself, but I choose not to because I believe what they do is just that much better than what I can do in so many ways. Because of my education, whether it's finances, budgeting, small business behavior, entrepreneurship, staff development, culture, branding, all the rest, I love the confidence that I feel when I can stand toe to toe and have an educated conversation with a potential vendor, or service that's going to impact my business, and be able to know what they're talking about to make a good decision, and they can't BS me. That's really important to me. I like it. And it's not a competition of I know more than them. It's a matter of communicating well, that I understand my need. I understand how you potentially can help me fulfill that need. And here are my requirements. That's so empowering. So take the time, study Andromeda, study anything on digital media today, not 20 years ago, today, and learn. Because I think if you really understand the value of digital media and how much it can grow your business and best position your business, you would be willing to spend the money. I know good digital media is not cheap, but is it a necessity? Yes. Yes. Is it a need? I think so. I really think so. In our business, if we're going to get beyond booths and community events and in house stuff. Cool? All righty, folks. Thank you so much. And I hope you take this information and you run, and grow your schools to be extremely successful. All right. I'm Brannon Beliso, Marco Mazzola holding up the back end. Then this is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, please go out there and live your best life.